Questions we get a lot though, and we're talking to people around is like, well, how do I set my grill up? And ultimately the question back is, well, what do you cook it? You could cook numerous different ways. You can smoke on it, you can grill on it, you could roast on it, and do everything in between. Food will dictate the style of your setup. You know, we have direct and we have indirect. It's two simple methods. Direct is going to be with your fuel below your food, direct heat. It's going to be your thinner foods, 20, 25 minutes, cooks or less. Chicken, steaks, pork chops, those type items. When the indirect zone comes into play, it's for your longer cooks, your bigger foods, your whole chickens, your prime ribs, your roasts, stuff like that, where you can't have the fuel underneath your food for the whole time because it'll burn. When we look at the direct, we're gonna start our chimney the same way. 2 lighter cubes, full chimney, wait till it gets ashed over. Now, this is where you figure out what you're cooking. If I'm going direct, I dump it right in, I create a direct zone. Put the cooking grate on and I have wherever that charcoal's at is direct. Now, indirect, you gotta be a little bit more strategic with, depending on what you're cooking. I can dump it to the back and create an indirect zone in the front, or I can put it on the sides and create an indirect zone in the middle. And it really just depends on what you're cooking and how you wanna set it up. You can use char rails to hold your charcoal. You can freeform it and just jump it gently in. Some people like to put a water pan down depending on what they have too. It could be like your grease management. They can help you regulate a little bit of temperature. So char baskets, the beautiful part about them is you can start indirect and you can have them, an indirect zone. In the middle, you're cooking your food indirectly. And you can take those char baskets and bring them together to create a direct zone and finish your food off if you want to do like a reverse sear. When we're talking about direct and indirect with gas, it's actually a little bit easier to set up than charcoal because you don't have to start fuel, you don't have to move it around a lot. You really just have to adjust your burners, to what you want to do. If you're using a 3-burner gas grill for direct, it's all the burners on. And then your food will dictate the temperature that you want to regulate for the cook box. Now, indirect, it's really simple. Depending on what you're cooking and the temperature you need to get to, you might turn off your middle burner, which is the mom method, medium off and medium. If I'm gonna do like a low and slow with ribs, it might be your 2 side burner, your 2 right burners that you're turning off. Ultimately, you're just trying to get your cook box locked in at the temperature based for the food that you're cooking. And then you can do it directly, like we talked about, or indirectly and turn off the burners you need to. Either way, your indirect doesn't have heat below it, your direct does. Simple.
I think that covered everything.
Yeah.